And what helped to keep you going during those sort of challenging moments? Because
Yeah.
that part where you're trying something new and you haven't done the product before,
Mm.
you're you're gaining that confidence and asking for favors as you have to as a
Yeah.
founder in those early days. What helped to
So
keep you going?
yeah, so the bits that I've just described definitely weren't my most challenging bits. The most challenging bit for me was around a year ago. So it was last January, February, and my fulfillment company sent an email essentially saying like you've got to get out, like we're not making enough money off you essentially, and I can pay to use them as storage, but not. It was very clear they didn't want to keep working with me, and they essentially said like get out now, get your product out now. It was said slightly nicer than that, but that's what happened. And at that point in time, I was just about to start a big marketing campaign and then pulled it and panicked. Like that's essentially what happened, is because I didn't know where my product was going to go. So effectively, it took me 4 weeks to find another fulfillment company, and that all worked really well for like the next 6 months. I worked with another fulfillment company that were great for that period of time in my business. But during that time, I was just like on high alert. I cried quite a few times. I think I cried every day for 2 weeks to my parents, who were like sort of on the phone, and we never really have ever done video chat. But I was 39 years old crying on the phone to my parents, and they're sort of saying to me like, okay, and they can't help because they don't really know how to solve it. They don't understand the problem. And actually the problem wasn't really that big. I think that was the problem that made me start to like really reassess certain things around, I can't have my emotions of that day be related to my business. Like the business is going to be success or failure. It's going to be a success, but I can't let, certain actions really take over my day or my week. So it all came round and everything got sorted. I think it was just this pressure of I'd really built up how this big marketing campaign was going to really set the scene, and it was going to build on everything for the previous 6 months, and just shelving it, and I lost some money. And so I think that was just like the most challenging moment. So in terms of how I dealt with it, crying on the phone wasn't necessarily the best way forward, but that was my release of that energy. And I think a lot of us, when I speak to other founders now, because at that point in time, I just didn't really have any like people close in my network of founders. It seemed to me that everybody was doing really well on LinkedIn, and they're all smashing these targets and selling loads of stuff and doing all these great things. And I was sat there at home going, I can't figure out what to do with my product, and I'm in a bit of a mess. So I very much relied on my like family, my friends. I did go into a little bit of a dark hole for a couple of weeks of just like not really sure what I was doing and feeling a bit panicked and stuff. But what I've really learned since then is I've now built a much stronger network of other founders. So I'm in a couple of accelerator programs. I've got a network of people that I rely on, and we all privately and quietly say to each other like, oh, hey, how's your week going? And one of them's having a rubbish week and one of us having a good week, and somebody we're all like 6 months ahead of each other, or they've done something that I've not done, and so we learn from each other. And that's really like the best source of help, because nobody wants to go on LinkedIn saying, oh, I'm having a disaster of a time, but you can privately say to somebody, hey, I'm not doing so well on this thing, and just talking through with somebody with no judgment is so helpful. And hopefully like I'm also been helpful to other people that that when they've had a rough time. I think I am. So that's what helps me keep going, is like having a network of just a few people, that we can be honest and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly.